film. You've talked a bit about the female characters who were very compelling, and it was very moving. But I was particularly intrigued by Suhail, the male character. And just tell us a bit about him, because it was so wonderful to see a sort of positive Pakistani male character for once.
I think he wrote himself into the film. I didn't plan on him, he just happened as I was writing, and I went with it because he represents a part of her that is perhaps never going to be, he represents the love that she will never perhaps ever be able to fulfill in this life, but spiritually it gives her something that was a void before. So I think he represents that really well. And I always imagined him to be this kind of a crazy guy with a crazy past. He's on the road, he's a gypsy, throws caution to the wind, sort of goes on a limb when he really believes in something. So I think he really adds a layer to her character and her journey as well, in addition to being, just a fun guy by himself as well.
I've got a massive crush on him now. So.
He's great, right? That's Mohit Mirza. He's a very nice, very great TV actor back home. When he came on set, he had just come back from a modeling job, and his hair was all like this super nice and shampooed hair, and I went into a fit, I was like, what happened to your nice messy hair? I want you to look like a truck driver. And so when he had this slicked look, I just passed out that day. I was like, oh God, he looks like he's just shampooed his hair and come on set. He's
right.
great.
We've just been told that we have about another 10 minutes, and thankful we are for you keeping your answers short and sweet. Yeah, next question please. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Ricky Khan. Amazing film, commend you on that. Did it actually open up a debate in Pakistan amongst the communities you were filming about the honour of the exchange of marital vows between the men that make those decisions? Did it open up a real debate?
The question is whether the film opened up a debate in the areas that it was filmed.
So we didn't really show the film in the areas where it was filmed. There were no cinema screens for HD films, but we showed in the major cities, Lahore, Karachi, Multan, and so on. And the film didn't run so well in the more conservative areas like Multan, which as we expected, but we had a good 1 week run. It did open up a debate and discussion largely on Twitter, on Facebook, on the social media. And we also had a campaign in which a lot of celebrities came forward to support the fight to end child marriage. So they ran a campaign called I Support Dukhtar. And we were very happy and very excited to have those celebrities speak on our behalf, as well as the film speaking for itself, because I believe it's not just my job to sort of give a lecture or perhaps like a sermon in the film. It's not that. If there's an idea of something that an audience takes with them, that's far more powerful, that's far more empowering, for them to be able to be that agent of change that we want them to be, rather than me just standing on a podium and saying, hey guys, now debate. So I think it has, and there's no immediate or short-term, consequence for it, but I can see that there's a bill being tabled in Punjab, there's just a bill that was tabled in Sindh where they raised the child marriage age to 18, and I'm not sure if the film helped sort of propel that into the fore or sort of discussion, but by our laws, the cutoff age is 16, so now the provinces are taking independent action to raise the age to 18. So that's something positive.
How effective is the kind of implementation of those laws in those areas?
Well, it's very tricky, there's a huge gap between what exists on paper and what exists in real life, and how do you bridge that deep gap. And that's always going to be a struggle, and that's where civil society and the non-profit world has come in, and child marriage and the fight against it has become a really big fight and struggle in the country as well. So I think it's picking up momentum.
Right, we've got some questions right at the back there. We'll come to you afterwards.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, now that 10 years have passed, Are you going to do a part 2 to show what happened to the daughter? That would be really interesting as well.
Someone writes me a nice check to make it. Well, I don't know. I've been asked if I want to do a sequel. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know as yet. So who knows? I'm open to that.
I can see quite a few fact checkbooks in the audience, so hopefully. Crowdfunding, there we go. Yes, there's another question there. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask, Afia, did you think that you achieved what you hoped to achieve when you were making the film?
Yes, I think so.
You know, in terms of performance and the story and...
Well, when I see the film, I only see my mistakes. But I think there were certain things that happened on the set that happened in a better way than I thought would have been possible. And sometimes, you know, when you're on the road, you're filming, you have to be really open to the way the light changes, you know, the light moves, the weather changes, and to be open to the possibilities that exist on the road. So I think the story crafted itself on some levels beyond the script as well, and I'm very happy with some of the scenes that actually happened out on the road that I never thought were possible.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right, we'll take a question here, then we'll come to
There's
you.
a gentleman at the back, let's not forget him.
Okay.
I just wanted to add, she said about, you were saying about negative, showing something negative. I actually thought it was such a positive story because it had all these positive characters and some of them were men who were carrying people forward without caring that, you know, they were getting negatively affected or not. And even the hats off to the cinematography. I thought with such small fundings, I was actually looking at it, looked like something from Bollywood. Great funding that Hollywood and Bollywood. Yes. Well, I'm talking about next door. Thanks. Thank you.
You shot with a Canon 5D, you don't do it.
Mark 3, yeah, they make you remember that, that's great.
Yes, I did. Right, where's the gentleman that Afia keeps referring to? That one. Okay, we'll go to you, then we'll come to you, sir.
It was an excellent movie, amazing, bravo. You told that it took you 10 years, so you didn't feel like giving up because 10 years is like...
Not a very
what
long
was your
time.
journey through 10 years? There were days you wanted to give up or something?
Oh yeah, I mean, my husband knows that so well. I mean, there were days that, there was one day I remember I went to this really big fundraiser in New York and I made these Dukhtar postcards, you know, to hand out to prospective investors and, you know, talk to them about the film. And it was this massive 500 people, you know, dressed in nice ball gowns, and I was standing there on the side with my pathetic little postcards, and I was like, you know, what am I doing here? You know, I was questioning, but then, you know, you find it in yourself to keep going. And I had in those 10 years, I also had a daughter, and she, you know, my Dukhtar helped me make Dukhtar, so that's what it is.
Right, two more questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. I think I can be the only other male person asking the question apart from you, so thank you. It's good to know that you love Golgappes in Lahore as well, as much in Delhi. And it's also relevant to point out that the similar problems exist in India as well as Pakistan. So it's not only correct to make this a Pakistani kind of problem. So there would be problems in a similar fashion, maybe different fashion in India. So that's something which should not be forgotten. That a girl child is has going through as many problems in India as well as in Pakistan. Number one. And what I want to understand from you was, you start the movie with a river which is calm and peaceful, and you end it with a scene of the river where it's calm and peaceful. Is that the only place that a woman finds where she can find her own space and time?
There were a couple of other dream sequences I took out because it was weighing the film down, but I kept this particular dream sequence for her because to me that represents, you know, dreams are a very powerful way of tapping into the subconscious of any character and especially on screen. And this is a place, the spiritual world, where she finds her courage to come back to earth, so to speak, at the end. And if you look at the film, if you were to look at the film all over again, go back from the ending to the beginning, you might think that she is remembering her whole story in a flashback, because that's, you know, the circle of life is kind of complete. The symmetry is there for me, and with that dream sequence, and that's what it represents, you know, for me, metaphorically.
I mean, metaphors and subtext. We could spend all night
we could have a
talking
master
about.
class on that. Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have only time for one last question. Yes, ma'am, in the corner here. Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Again, repeating what everyone said, congratulations, it's fantastic. One of the things I wanted to say, I think somebody in the front row said that the way you've had a balance of good and bad men is really, really important, because in such a tense thriller, you need to see some hope in men, basically, because I think they get stereotyped as the worst villains, but then it was a nice balance in there. And one of the things that I wanted to, well, I've got a question, but one of the things I wanted to ask was, somebody said that it happens in India. Honour-based crime is quite rife in the UK as well. And if anybody, and it's a little plug, but if anybody looks at Kali Theatre Company, they're doing a project called 12, which are 12 monologues based on honour-based crime in the UK, and it's across Turkish communities, Spanish communities, across the board. So it's a really poignant film. Now, what I wanted to ask was, what was the groundwork that you did and the character build-up with the young girl? Because that was really interesting, the girl's journey through that as well. But she was oblivious to it, or the mum protected her. And what I wanted to know was, as the child actor, how much did you inform her of what the issue was about?
She knew everything. She's a first-time actress for the film, but she's worked on television before, on an adaptation of Sesame Street, the local version of Sesame Street in Pakistan. So she's a very gifted actress, very gifted child, and in certain improvisations with her, the chemistry between the mother and daughter was very, very apparent. So what I did was, I mean, I told her the story, but in terms of preparing her for the role, I let the road trip and the journey of the film itself prepare her, because we were going to be in desolate areas for 2 months on the road. She was going to be without her mom. And so the actress was the only other woman on the set for her to bond with. And so I let them have that bonding. And, you know, the actress herself has a daughter, Samia, you know, she's great. So she was missing her daughter, she was missing her mom, and the two of them had such a great time. And so what you see on screen is actually the way we improvise certain scenes on camera. And she, you know, she's so gifted, the girl, she would give you the performance in the very first take. So we had to be ready with our lighting and everything, because she would give us that first take. She's flawless.
Tough taskmaster. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have time.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Afia Nathaniel. And by the way, Mara Pictures is releasing the film across the UK.
So Mara Pictures in UK is releasing the film. Sanam is here at the back. In London, we'll be back at the Waterman's Theatre 27th April onwards. In Birmingham, 3rd of April. In Leicester, in Hereford. Please check out marapictures.com. And if you happen to be in Oxford or Cambridge, you can even demand the film through ourscreen.com. So look out for us. Thank you.
Afia Nathaniel, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.